Stevo Panderovski is the national coordinator for preparing Macedonia to join NATO. He joins us live from Skopje. So this vote has gone against you. What happens next with this possibility of joining NATO?
If everything goes smoothly, then in the first quarter of the 2020 we should be the full-fledged member of the alliance. But what should happen before that? So having in mind the results of today's referendum, when 92% of the people, approximately 92% of the people have voted yes for accepting the agreement with Greece and with that precondition for entering the alliance in the European Union later on, that means that from Monday on we will enter the negotiations with the main oppositional party to have the constitutional changes.
Yeah, but sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt. But you're saying that the majority have voted for, but actually the Macedonia Election Commission chief says the referendum fails to hit the turnout threshold. It is clear that the decision has not been made to change the name. So you can't say that you've... That is
the one component. Yes, you're correct. That's correct, but that's only one component of the whole thing. Then this is the legal threshold for passing the referendum. Then the legal interpretation in such a case is that if we are not reaching the legal threshold, that means that the people have not brought forward the decision. So we do not see a decision taken by the people today. That means that the government and the parliament are going to enter the field, and from tomorrow on we'll start negotiations with the other parliamentary factions to change the constitution. And I would like to emphasize the political argument of the whole thing. Then we have 92% of the people who voted today. That's a huge majority of the people who are in favor of this agreement and in favor of our Euro-Atlantic integrations. And we should respect the will of the people.
How will you get political agreement if the country's
oppositional parties as well?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. The Conservative opposition party appears leader decided to push for a boycott of this vote. Does the turnout not reflect that actually people have gone with his side of the position, and presumably he's then not going to agree to pass this in a parliament, is he?
You know, I am hearing the arguments this night, but it's peculiar to declare the victory when you get only 6% of the votes. 6% of the people said we are against the agreement, and 3% have been non-valid ballots. So, huge majority, to repeat that once more, 92% has been on our side. Why we have not reached as a country the legal threshold? Out of two components. Because we have 400,000 people who left the country and are not anymore physically present in Macedonia, and approximately 300,000 people who are the so-called traditional members and sympathizers of the main oppositional party who have been pressed to boycott the referendum. So, but out of the people who have voted today, we have the overwhelming majority of them voted in favor of the agreement.
So how much difference would it make to have NATO membership for Macedonia? I mean, if you need to go out and sell this idea to people or to other parliamentarians, what would you say the biggest advantage of NATO membership would be?
You know, we are still living in a very turbulent region, and as anyone can remember, in the past few months there are again circulating that horrible ideas about changing the peoples and territories, about so-called correction of the borders. So we are bordering Serbia and Kosovo, and we have been quite recently in an internal conflict being instigated in the early stages by our north. So by being under the security umbrella of NATO, it will mean a definitive, I would say, a stamp to the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the country, which means a lot for the country of only 2 million people, being encircled by the much mightier neighbors.
Tell me about the relationship with Greece. I mean, clearly they were the ones who blocked NATO membership in the past. Where does this leave the relationship with them, with this agreement that's now presumably doesn't stand?
The agreement with Greece, after 27 years of tough negotiations for one rather peculiar international dispute, was equal to political miracle. Then finally, on both sides of the borders, we have the young leaders, courageous leaders, not being burdened by the past, by the emotions, by history. And right now we are entering in one stage when we can say that the relationship between Skopje and Athens has never been before in our history. So if we ratify the agreement and after that the Greek parliament will do the same, then it will open a big door for both countries to have a fruitful cooperation in the near future.
Stevo Panderovski, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us on Al Ĝezera. Thank you. Polls